I want to share something that I have seen as an attribute in some of the greatest leaders that I've ever worked with, that I've ever known, that I've ever listened to. And I think that it's hard and it takes a lot of discipline. But if you're wanting to level up as a leader, it is understand this and get really, really good at this. I talked about being on stage always as a sales rep. I think that it is even more important to understand that you are always on stage as a leader. This means that, and this is why it's so hard, and this is also why leaders get paid the most, is because this is something that not everybody has the discipline to go do. Recognize that you are always on stage, which means a couple different avenues. One, go be aware of the things that you're saying. So you may get caught up in you're saying certain things to another vet or whatever it is, and you get caught up in those stories. Pay attention to what is that story telling about you, and what is that story telling anybody that's listening to you. Because if you're telling one story of, oh, like, for example, limiting belief, and you're saying, oh, no, it's fine, like I was just telling a friend. In reality, you need to go shift your paradigm because you just negatively impacted a rookie because they heard that and they're like, oh, now I have a limiting belief as well. If this person doesn't believe that he can go sell in this place, then why should I be able to go? And the thing is, it's not just change your words, it's go change the way that you view things. Like the cool thing about understanding that you're always on stage is it forces you to go improve. It forces you to go to be better. And I want you guys to understand that because I've heard way too often vets just talk about things that don't need to be talked about in front of other people. And it's the same thing as just recognize your audience always, because you always have an audience. And any story that you tell, go be aware of the people around you. And so there are certain details I can go add to a story with some people there versus another. And I want to use an example. It's like if I was telling a story that is a very good story, like unrelated to sales, and I have a an 11, 12-year-old kid there that looks up to me a ton, the way that I go tell a certain story, I may not necessarily go add some of the details of my stupidity in my youth because I don't want them to go do the same thing that I did, right? And so it's the same thing. It's like you're not wanting to go necessarily influence them in that way. And I think that when you look outside yourself and you stop being selfish and your goal is to go influence other people for good, then you recognize that. And so there's certain details that you can go share in stories with some people that are different than the stories that you go share with other people. So there's that. I also want you to recognize that when you're always on stage, they're watching your character, they're watching how you treat other people, they're watching what you go do in your spare time, they're watching the language that you have in terms of, are you vulgar and things like that, but are also the paradigms and the way that you see the world and the limiting beliefs that you may have or you don't have. And all of those things, people learn from that. They pick up from it. And so if you want to be somebody that's influential, you can either choose to go influence people for the worse or influence people for the better. And if you're going to choose to be for the better, it has to be intentional. You have to go recognize the impact that you're going to have on somebody else. I shared this story once where I had just flown. I was exhausted. I had just flown to Dallas. I'd done multiple different trips. I got back. I really didn't sleep at all on that trip. And then I got into Utah and I went into the house that we rent out in Utah. And at the time, my brother-in-law was there, and I was training this dog, this puppy, for my little sister for a Christmas present. And when I went downstairs, she had pooped just right there at the bottom of the stairs, and I didn't see it, and I stepped in it. And so I went, and I was just frustrated as heck, and I was exhausted, and I was late because I landed, and I had to go change my clothes, and then I was going to go head over to the office because I had meetings. And so I was frustrated, and what I wanted to do is just take the freaking puppy and punt it. I was frustrated as heck. And my brother-in-law was there, and I recognized, how do I want to go influence him? And this isn't something that you can go do in an instant. You can go just change this. It has to be something that you've intentionally done over time that allows you to go see things in a different way. And so I realized that how I want to be seen and who I want to be is somebody that has control. always, regardless of how tired I am. I can go manage my emotions. I can go control myself. And so I stepped into the poop and I was frustrated as heck. And I saw that he was looking and he was seeing me. And I thought, one, how do I want to go influence this? Like, what is the message that I want to go pass on to him? And obviously, like, I have impulse control. So whether he was watching me or not, I wasn't going to do anything. I wasn't going to punt the puppy like I wanted to. But I walked over and I grabbed the puppy and I intentionally walked over and I opened the door and I set the dog down softly and gently because it just showed that I wasn't out of control. And the way that I did that, regardless of how I felt inside, that story, like that experience, allowed me to go influence him in a way that it doesn't matter how angry you're feeling. It doesn't matter how frustrated or how tired or how little sleep you have. You can control your emotions. And when I understand that story that I want to go tell, then it dictates all of my decisions. But the thing is, you just have to begin with the end in mind. You have to decide the impact that you want to go make on other people. Do you want to go influence people for the better or not? And so there's that. And I just want to finish out with there's a time and a season for everything. And if you be intentional with everything that you're saying, so for example, when it's sales, then people are seeing you as a leader. And so there's certain times where you can go talk to the leader above you for advice and ask for certain things. Or talk to him about recruiting or talk to him about whatever. The time is not to go do that in front of all your recruits because they see one side of you and your job is to show them that side of you. Your job is to show them the side that cares and that is responsible, that can go take care of them and that is seeing them as a human being. And oftentimes for a rookie, like if you're talking about recruiting, sometimes we get caught up in just numbers and it's easy for them to go say, oh, like my leader just sees me as a number. And one, if you see them that way, you should fix that. You should start seeing people as people. But two, it's even if you see them correctly, it's easy for them to interpret the story incorrectly based on the way that you're speaking. And so I just want you to be open about that. I just want you to understand the way that you impact other people because you do have more influence than you think you do. And you should continually try to increase that circle of influence. Like that is our whole job, our whole role. And it feels good when you can, as long as you are doing it the right way and you're helping people become better.